welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Lon. And today we are making something completely different than what we normally do, but it's one of my favorite foods, Mexican food. Tonight we are making cheesy beefy enchiladas. So I'm so excited to be making this recipe for you guys tonight. And before we get into tonight's recipe, I want to go ahead and highlight some of our comments from the last video. In case you missed last video, we made shrimp egg foo young at home. So yes, all you Chinese lovers out there, we made shrimp egg foo young. It was so good and was so simple, and you can recreate it right in the comfort of your own home. So I'll link that video up top here for you guys to click on there and catch up in case you missed it last week. So let's get right into these comments. The first comment is from Gina Hampton, and she said, definitely making this soon. I would never think to make this on my own. Only Lon would do this. Love it, and loving the braces on you. It's time for your signature Chef Lon apron, lady. It's all about the branding. Thank you so much, Gina, and I completely agree. I didn't think about making it at home myself either, but I was just craving it, and I was like, this would be something good to make for Cooking with Lon this week. And yes, the Chef Lon aprons, they are definitely coming, so don't sleep on me. And then the next one is shout out to Carolyn Patrice, because Carolyn made that recipe the same night that I uploaded it, which is just insane to me. But that also goes to show how simple and easy the recipe is. You probably have all the ingredients in your pantry as we speak. So shout out to Carolyn. She said, Lon, this recipe is bomb AF. This tastes so good. Thanks so much, Carolyn, for being such a great supporter, and thanks so much for trying my recipe on the same day that I uploaded it. So let's get right into tonight's recipe, because I am hungry and can't wait to dive into these cheesy beefy enchiladas. All right, y'all, first things first, I want to heat up my saucepan that I have back here. It's a really wide, like 12-inch pan, and I'm gonna heat that up so that it can be ready for our ground beef in just a few minutes. I'm gonna start out by dicing up some red onion. And you can use yellow onion if you have it. Whatever type of onion you have in your home, you want to go ahead and use. And I'm just giving this like a medium dice. Now, honestly, guys, believe it or not, I've never had enchiladas before. Mexican food is one of my all-time favorite foods. It's right up there with Italian. If you want to win me over, buy me some pasta, buy me some tacos, and I am good to go. But I've never had enchiladas before. I've never tried it, and so I thought this would be something good for Cooking with Lon tonight, because me and you were tasting the same recipe at the exact same time, and you know, we're learning together. So I got some red onion in here, and I'm gonna set this aside for later. Next, I'm gonna chop up some cilantro, and it's crazy that I love Mexican food and I hate cilantro. It's something about it that it just kind of tastes like dirt to me. But Mexican food is not true Mexican food without a little bit of cilantro. These are just one of those herbs that you have to use in order to get that authentic Mexican flavor. So as you can see, look at this little bit that I'm using. I'm hardly using anything. And I'm just gonna rough chop this up. I like my cilantro very fine, because if I bite into one of these huge leaves, y'all, it's over for me. So I'm just gonna chop up a little bit of this cilantro, just enough so that you can taste it, but you can't really see it too much. And I'm gonna put this in the same container. I'm not wasting a container. I'm gonna put this in the same container as my onions, and they're gonna go in there together. Alright guys, so my pan is nice and hot back here. I'm gonna go ahead and preheat the oven to 375 degrees, because it's gonna take just a few minutes for our ground beef to start browning, and the oven is gonna take really long. So first things first, I'm gonna go in with some olive oil into the pan. This pan is so hot, I'm actually scared. And then I'm gonna pour in my red onion and my cilantro. Get that moving around in there. And I'm only going to cook the onions for a second. Usually I would let these sweat out a little bit, but I want a bit of a bite in our enchiladas, so I'm going to leave them raw while I go ahead and dump in our ground beef. This is 80-20 ground beef. As I mentioned to you guys before, You use whatever ground beef is okay for you and your lifestyle. This is 80-20, which means it's 80% meat, 20% fat. And I like that ratio so that it's still flavorful. There's also like 85-15 and 90-10, depending on how lean you want your ground beef. So I'm just gonna crumble this up until it gets nice and brown. And I want really, really small pieces of ground beef. I don't want any large chunks. And this flame is on high, in case you guys were wondering. Our ground beef is cooking just a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and add our seasonings in here. I got a little bit of salt, pepper, and garlic powder here. I'm gonna sprinkle that in. And then in this container, I have chili powder, cayenne pepper, oregano, what is this? Paprika and cumin. And I'm gonna sprinkle this in as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep chopping this up and cooking it down until the mixture is nice and brown and the chunks are not too big. While our meat is browning, I have another pan back here. I'm going to turn this on medium-low heat. Oops, turned on the wrong burner. Turn this on medium-low heat, and then I have a can of enchilada sauce. I got this from Target. This is the Las Palmas brand. You can use whatever brand enchilada sauce that you want. Look, we're not making homemade enchilada sauce today. I told you guys, this is my first time, so I don't like investing that much time into a recipe if I don't even know how it's going to taste. So I'm going to pour all of this enchilada sauce in the pot back here, just for it to warm up, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this later. Alright guys, our beef has browned up nicely, and you see how we have just uniform kernels of beef. We broke up that beef. I'm going to just transfer this to... Alright guys, so I'm just scooping our beef out and putting it into another container to help with the assembly of our enchiladas later. Look at this beef, and it tastes good. Don't forget to taste it. It tastes so good. All right guys, now comes for the best part, assembling our enchiladas. Now, I know this probably isn't right. There's somewhere, some rule book out there for Mexican cooking where it says that you can't use flour tortillas for enchiladas, but let me tell y'all something. I love flour tortillas. I hate corn tortillas. You're supposed to make this recipe with corn tortillas. If you don't mind them and you want that authentic flavor, absolutely use corn tortillas at home. But today, I'm making flour. So, we're gonna just dip our tortilla in the enchilada sauce. Oh my gosh. Dip it in the enchilada sauce. And then onto our plate. This is so messy. We're gonna fill it a little bit with some cheese. It's so messy, but it's gonna be so good. And then some of that ground beef mixture. Try to get enough ground beef in there. And then I have some green chilies here that we're gonna sprinkle in as well. Just for a little bit of added spice. If you guys don't like your food too spicy, then you don't have to use it. And then I'm just gonna pour a little bit of the enchilada sauce in the bottom of the pan. Ooh. Just so that the enchiladas don't stick. Set this right back over here. Move this around a little bit. And I'm gonna assemble my first tortilla. So you just roll it just like this. And then you're gonna put the seam side down into the pan. So there's our first one. So I'm gonna just keep on doing the same thing that I did. Dip the flour tortilla into the enchilada sauce. Put it here on our plate. Get some cheese in there. Be generous with the cheese because you want it to be nice and cheesy when you bite into it. And then I got the ground beef mixture, some green chilies, and then we are just gonna fold this over, seam side down, right next to the other one. So I'm gonna keep working on these guys and I'll check you in a minute. All right, y'all, so we made all of our enchiladas. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 8 enchiladas here, and I try to pack them. Now I'ma just pour some more enchilada sauce over all of them. Y'all, this looks so good, and it smells good too. Right? And then I'm gonna sprinkle the last little bit of Mexican cheese. You know what, I'm just gonna do it with my hands. Last little bit of Mexican cheese. This is a heart attack waiting to happen. Look at this. All this daggone cheese, y'all. It's gonna be so good. And then the enchiladas are filled with cheese. So we are going to bake this uncovered on 375 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the top is nice and golden brown. All right, y'all, our enchiladas are out of the oven. I can hardly wait to try them. I went ahead and garnished them with a little bit of sour cream and some extra cilantro. So I'ma just, I don't even know like how to do this. I'ma just cut it out like it's a casserole. Oh my gosh, y'all, look at this. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me sit this here. And then I have some of my homemade guacamole. And look how vibrant and green this is. It doesn't even look real. If you guys don't know how to make fresh guacamole at home, I'm about to show you guys how to get the perfect guacamole recipe. To make the tastiest guacamole, I start out with some ripe Hass avocados. If you don't know if your avocado is ripe or not, remove the tip of the avocado to see if it's a bright lime green underneath. And if so, then your avocados are ready to eat. In order to remove the seed from the avocado, it's some really easy steps to follow. I take a really sharp knife and I go along the avocado and trace my knife outline all the way around the avocado until I end up where I started. Twist the avocado in half and it exposes the seed. Then I take my knife and I stab the seed, twist and remove the avocado seed. Next, to remove all of the green flesh, I score the avocado vertically and then I turn it the opposite way and then I score it horizontally. This way it automatically creates cubes and it's easier for me to mash up. Then I take a fork or a spoon and I scoop out all of the avocado flesh into the bowl that I'm going to be using for my guacamole. Next is some fresh jalapeno. I cut the ends off of a jalapeno, cut it lengthwise, and then I remove the ribs and the seeds so that we don't have too much heat going on in our guacamole. Also, the ribs can tend to be bitter. Afterwards, I go ahead and I mince the jalapeno and I make sure that the pieces are very, very small because you don't want one of your guests or even yourself biting into a huge chunk of jalapeno. I also like red onion in my guacamole. Some people also like tomato, but we're only going to add onion to my recipe. And if you want to omit this, you absolutely can. So I'm just peeling a red onion and then I'm going to go ahead and dice my red onion finely and add it to my guacamole mixture. Last but not least, I'm not a big fan of cilantro, but it does give the guacamole that authentic guacamole flavor. So I chop up a few leaves of cilantro very, very finely and I add those to the bowl as well. Fresh lime is the key to having a really flavorful guacamole and keeping your guacamole bright and fresh. So I'm adding a full small lime to the guac and that'll make sure that your guac doesn't turn brown. To season things up a bit, I'm adding a little bit of salt, some pepper, and some garlic powder. And this will give our guacamole flavor. Now it's time to mash all of these ingredients up with a fork. That's the best way to do it. If you're using or creating a big quantity, then you can use a potato masher. Otherwise, a fork works just fine. And there you have it. This is my recipe for the perfect guacamole every time. I'm going to scoop a dollop of this next to my enchiladas. Oh my gosh, y'all, I can't wait to try it. Let me make sure it's not hot. It's not hot. I'm gonna move this out the way. All right, let me just get a nice nugget. I'm gonna try it by itself first, and then I'm gonna try it with some guacamole. Just came out the oven. That enchilada sauce, y'all, is so bomb. It's like peppery and has like a hint of tomato. I'm gonna try it a little bit with some guac. I'm just now getting that spice from the cayenne. I love guacamole. It complements anything. I love the coolness of the guacamole and the hot and spiciness of the enchiladas. So delicious. Alright guys, so that wraps up another episode of Cooking with Lauren. I hope you guys enjoyed this enchilada recipe. And don't forget, I made this with beef tonight, but you can also make it with chicken at home, or if you're looking for a more vegetarian option, you can just make it with cheese. So I'll see you guys next week. If you recreate this dish, make sure you use my hashtag on Instagram, Cooking with Lauren, so that I can see all of your recipes. Be sure to leave a comment down below to let me know what recipes you want to see in the coming weeks. And guys, I will see you next Wednesday. Same time, same place, different recipe. Peace.